Gauteng has been hit by an explosive multi-million rand jobs scandal. The South Gauteng High Court has ordered a consultancy firm to pay back 52 million rand after it delivered just 142 internships instead of the agreed 75,000 jobs for unemployed youth in Gauteng. Now, the failed program, which was reportedly awarded without following due process, was part of the province's Vutela project, which is aimed at addressing Gauteng's joblessness crisis. Let's get a better understanding now of what actually happened here, and we're joined in studio by the spokesperson of the ANC in Gauteng. Mr. Makhubela, thank you very much for your time. Can I first ask the question, what happened to the secretary? He's the one that had committed to come to this interview.
Yeah, well, we still, our provincial executive committee meeting is ongoing. The secretary can't leave such an important meeting, and therefore ask the mouthpiece of the province to actually come and represent the PC and himself.
Yeah, so he can't leave such an important meeting to come and account to South Africans about massive amounts of money that have been spent in the ANC-led government in Gauteng.
Unfortunately, I was not even aware that the interview was about this. We were informed that the interview is about the outcomes of the Lekotla that the ANC just concluded just 2 hours ago. Our agreement with your producer was that we need an interview to go through what you were discussing in the past 2 days in the Lekotla of the ANC. I was not even aware of this turn of the interview. The secretary would not even have known about this. I would not have known about this interview because what was said to us by your producer is not the question you are asking us.
Well,
and it's not like if you had told us you are going to ask us about this, we are not going to come. We still come here. We are not afraid to account. We come anyway. Yeah.
And this is what this is about, because in fact you addressed a media conference yesterday where this issue came up very sharply. So let's deal with this jobs scam for an amount of 52 million rand, because this is the pure profit out of an initial contract agreement of 65 million rand. How many jobs were promised by this company?
Well, we did not address any press conference about this. I organized press conferences, and certainly the press conference we had yesterday was about the reports on the commissions at the Lekotla. And that's why I would have loved that we were told before, so that I could consult the chief whip of the majority party and the departments concerned, including the Premier of Gauteng, who will be here, by the way, at 9 o'clock with Thabo Mdluli to deal with some of the issues. And I think he will probably be able to account on this. I would have loved to have all the facts so that we're able to account to the people of South Africa as to what is happening about this. And now it will be speculations. I don't have facts on my fingertips. I'm learning about this from sitting here in this ambush on an interview that was about the outcomes of the Lekotla. And these questions that are coming now are questions that we're not even told about. But I promise you we'll make sure that when the Premier comes today for an hour with Thabo Mdluli, some of these questions we're able to respond to them.
Well, Mr. Makhubela, we're going to have to let you go then, but perhaps as a parting shot, is the ANC shocked by such waste? Because a court of law has now ruled that these monies must be paid back. The company in question is intending to appeal if the reports that we are reading are indeed to be believed. That kind of waste by the ANC's own government in the province, surely you've got to have something to say about it.
We are passionate about the approach that has been taken by the Premier of Gauteng, and that's what we spoke about in the Lekotla, because the approach was simple. We don't have to have middle people in the employment of our people, and that's how we initiated the Nasispani program, which has to date employed over 65,000 people in Gauteng, giving them sustainable jobs. There's no middleman. We are using departments to directly insource these these services so that we are able to save a lot of money, but also are able to ensure that we create jobs. And that's where we are, and that's what Lekotla has resolved, that we need to use some of the agencies. For instance, in Gauteng, we're the only provincial government with what we call the Gauteng City Region Academy, which is basically an academy or an agency that is used for the training of the employees of government, but also for the insourcing of interns, as well as reskilling of some of the workers who've always been in the employ of the provincial government. And that's why we came up with that particular program. And at the heart of Nasisbani is that the provincial government, we know how difficult it can be for the provincial government to be able to train, to do the training of personnel directly. But we took a decision that it must be done. We must capacitate the human resources function. We must capacitate the Gauteng City Region Academy so that it's able to do that. In fact, the Gauteng City Region Academy has demonstrated over a crisis time during COVID, when it had to ensure that we have what we call the COVID frontline troopers who were deployed in all the schools so that our kids are actually insulated from the invisible virus. It was able to perform in that. It dispenses bursaries directly.
Mr. Makhubela,
yeah.
I'm sorry to cut in,
Thank you.
but this was a question about wastage in government. And my question to you is whether or not the ANC has a problem with that as a governing party.
Of course, we won't tolerate it. I wish I had the facts. I wish your producers would have told me before walking into the studio that the interview is no longer about the Lekotla outcomes. It's about the outcomes of the courts.
Look,
and I would have been able to clarify that. But that's why I'm explaining to you that we view wastage with a dim eye. We will not tolerate it, and that's why most of the services we are saying for the employment of our people, for the training of our people, the government is doing it directly as we speak. I'm saying so far with Nasisbani program, a program of Premier Banyaza Lesufi and the ANC-led government in Gauteng. We are hiring directly. We are training directly. If you speak about the people that were training for the solar panels, we are training them directly ourselves through the Gauteng City Region Academy, because we want to actually ensure that we keep wastages where there are none, where they exist.
All right. Let's conclude the conversation then on this question, because you're very passionate about creating employment, and that's why you're emphasizing the point that this is government now doing it by itself. And you mentioned Nasisbani, a good initiative.
Thank you.
Intended to create jobs for young people.
Yeah.
So this particular program, which has failed, sadly, the court has found that based on investigations that were done by the Gauteng enterprise propeller, that this contract was awarded without following proper processes, so it was awarded illegally. But here's the important bit, because you said you don't have the facts, and I don't want to belabor that point. But would you want the person under whose watch this contract was awarded to still work in your government if you found out that they are still in the employ of the Gauteng government?
I doubt that the people who awarded that contract are still in the employ of our government, because there were a lot of challenges with the Gauteng enterprise propeller over the years. And you would have seen that there's been an overhauling of that particular agency, capacitating it with proper people who are able to work. You can see that that agency has turned the corner. It's doing what it's supposed to do. One of the biggest challenges at the Gauteng enterprise propeller was that it had a lot of people who were in positions as acting directors, acting chief directors, acting CEOs and everything else. All those positions have been filled by people who are capable. A board has been appointed of people who are capable. So I doubt that the people who would have been at the helm of the awarding of that contract, I don't know which contract is that,
No, so let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you very quickly. The person who's reported to have been at the helm of the Gauteng propeller, correct? They were acting at the time. Their names, Lee Manenje. She now is understood to be in the Department of Human Settlements as Chief Director. She's employed by the provincial government. What are you going to do about it?
We will have to follow up. We will have to study the court judgment, and we will have to act if needs be. Because we can't act on the basis of sensationalism. And we'll have to say to read what the court outcome is saying. We have to apply our minds and say this is how we have to act. And if it is found that in terms of our interpretation of the judgment and in terms of our own internal investigations that this person is in the wrong, we can't have such people in the employ of our provincial government. We are running a clean government. We are running a government that delivers services. We are running a government that is inspiring hope to many of our people. We have never been afraid to act against any official doing wrong.
All right. Lesego Makhubela, let me thank you very much for your time.